Here with Jacob Wheeler. We're down at Lake Eufaula. It's nice and warm. As you can see, I got a long sleeve shirt on, which means I probably got burnt. You know,
Not that sunscreen.
Well, I do. I put on. My wife always gives me trouble because I put it on once in the morning. I never put it on again because I figure I got this Mediterranean skin. You know what? When you're down here in the south, I don't care what kind of skin you got. You're getting burnt.
You better have some sunscreen.
Exactly. But hey, Jake, a couple things. We always get to talk, but we don't really, actually get time to sit down and chat about fishing.
Exactly.
I've had a tough year this year. It's been kind of frustrating, but this is probably the last tournament I'm going to do. I'll probably not come the last two because I got a big Canada U.S. walleye coming up on kind of my home lake, and I can't really miss that. And this year you got to kind of look at, I guess, when you get to a point where you kind of look at your points and you look at kind of what, obviously there's costs involved for everybody. And I've come to the decision now that, to fish two more and lose two tournaments at home, it's probably not the greatest thing. But hey, tell us a little bit about, obviously you're a part of Eufaula Pro Team, which is kind of cool, and we get to kind of share some stuff once in a while with some new stuff. But how was it, first of all, how was it winning the Forest Wood Cup? That'd be pretty cool.
Winning the Forest Wood Cup was the ultimate, win and dream, basically a dream come true, I grew up fishing and wanting to be a professional fisherman, and so ultimately winning that tournament, one of the biggest tournaments in bass fishing, was pretty awesome. And that's what's cool, being 21 at that time, it just was like, it's still, a shocker. You're just like, oh my gosh, you wake up every morning, it's like a pinch me deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was pretty cool because I remember being at home and I checked after the second day and like, Jacob's gonna win? I go, this is gonna be awesome, dude. I said, I'm gonna text him, and I'm like texting you, and I'm like, oh, good luck, Jake. And you're like, okay, thanks, man. And I could see it in your text.
I'm all like nervous.
Yeah, I could tell because you were like, okay, with an OK and then M and then M, and I'm like, okay, I know what he means. But I could just imagine myself, and I've been fishing tournaments for 25 years, so. And I was just feeling it for you, which was pretty awesome. And I won the Canadian Championship and Angler of the Year, back home. But there's that part of me, and people ask me all this at home all the time. How do you go down there and fish as a co angler? Isn't it frustrating? I'm like, you know what? It is, and I have those days where it's frustrating. Like last year, I had a great year. Did real good at Okeechobee, did good at Hartwell, and then it just kind of went down. But I know that's how it goes. When everything's your way, when the fishing's your way, you get with a guy who's kind of fishing the way you want to fish. But here's a question for you. And a lot of people kind of ask me, and it's different coming from me because I fish as a co-angler and I am a pro, but at home we fish a lot of team events, where here you guys consistently fish as by yourself. So number one, for a lot of our viewers are going to be guys who, and women too, who really want to know what it's like to have the co-angler experience. So for your standpoint, if you had to give somebody a tip as far as co-angling, what would you say? Like, what are some of the key things?
I think the biggest thing that I see that co-anglers should do well with me in the boat, a lot of co-anglers will try to do the exact same thing that you're doing. So if I'm catching them cranking, maybe you should throw something like, if we're out deep cranking ledges, unless I'm catching them every cast, maybe you should be doing something a little bit different. Throwing a big worm, throwing a football head. Constantly looking at what I'm not fishing, or if we're going down the bank flipping. Okay, maybe the bite is a flipping bite, but you have to constantly be looking at what I'm not hitting, what I'm not, missing, and then that's where you're going to have your opportunities. Because when you're behind some of the best fishermen in the world, it's really difficult to catch up behind them. Because they're going to try to catch everything they can.
Exactly. My partner at home tells me, he goes, I hate fishing behind you. I said, well, why are you fishing behind me? It's a team event. He goes, I ain't getting up there with you. You don't leave any fish anyway. So I kind of get it, and I fished with, a lot of awesome guys, and I do notice that. And when I first started, that's what I did. If the guy was throwing a crankbait, I'm like, dude, he's crushing him on a crankbait. That's what I need to be doing. And then I started to learn. Like, I kind of watched the guys like Casey and other guys that Peak, and guys who do real good, and they're constantly throwing different stuff. And one of my biggest things is, and we haven't actually had the opportunity to fish together. Maybe it could be today or tomorrow. But a lot of it is just having respect for the guy, and that, hey, that's their full-time job. And I can get back home, and I still have a for say a job, But for you guys, who are out here, it's the same as me at home. It's that I'm out there to win, and I'm doing everything. I'm not disregarding the guy at the back or whatever, but I'm definitely making sure that I get the best opportunity I can.
Yeah, for guys like me, I'm out here. This is what all I do for a living. Right. So, paying a $4,000 entry fee, throwing $2,000 worth of expenses. You know, making a $10,000 check is super important to pay your bills. That's the only money that I have coming in. And so that's what you have to have. So you're constantly thinking, but also you got to think about your coingler every once in a while. You know, it's always looking at, you know, trying to catch fish, but you also want your coingler. I always like to see my coingler catch a few too. Just because it makes it a better day in the boat. You know, but you see, you know, you guys have expenses, a ton of expenses in it too. You know, almost $1,000 an entry plus driving all the way down from Canada. I mean, it's just a lot of work, and so you have to think about your coingler also.
And I can't really get too much into it, but going into this term, have you ever fished down here like that?
I personally have not. You know, this is the first time I got on the lake. Was the first day of practice, which was last, you know, Sunday. So it's really, you know, I figured post spawn this is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of fish. Found out it wasn't as many fish as I would hoped. And
I mean, the only good thing is we don't have to worry about it being extremely cold, which is going to be good.
It's going to be 85 and sunny and
I think my wife said it was 41 degrees at home today. So no, thank you.
Nope.
But you're from the northern U.S.
I'm like Indiana. Like Indiana's like, I'm like
right on the border.
Like you get to Michigan, that's sort of north. Like I'm Midwest. Like
so it still gets fairly cold.
I think it's cold. We get the worst of the worst. We get 90 degrees, 100-degree weather in the summer, and we get 20 degrees and snow and ice in the winter. So you might as well worst place to be there.
If you had to say, like, obviously other than the Forest Wood Cup, what was another, like, you know, real big turning point for you as far as, you know, getting into, you know, fishing as a pro? And
you know, I think realistically the biggest thing for me was the first couple tournaments that I fished at FLW. You know, I fished the All-American. I won the All-American the year before, which was a big deal, and that was huge. But that still was against a lot of the BFL guys, which are great fishermen. But you put these pros so high up there, like, you know, you look up to all these guys, and you get out there and you're fishing against them, and you just think, man, can I even make a living out here? Can I make a check? Can I do? There's so many great fishermen, and so just to get out there, those first couple tournaments, getting a check and making a little bit of money, that was the key to really giving more confidence, and you just sort of grew, you know, as a fisherman. Like, I look at myself last year in the spring and you know, the beginning of the year, my rookie year, and look at now, and it's like, wow, like awesome. I can't believe how much more I know now than I did then. It's like it's double.
And I mean that's what a lot of people I say to people, say, oh, you know, you didn't do that good. I said, but you know what, I learned a lot. Some of it, like, our fish are a little bit different. I mean, our fish stay under the ice for, you know, 5.5 months of the year, so when they get out, it's like a free-for-all. Like, woo, we can eat, you know. So it was kind of cool. But and when we fish them, like, our season opens June the 15th this year, which is a little bit earlier, so the fish will be kind of done spawning, they'll be kind of in a recouping stage. But predominantly we fish all our largemouth fishing, and even some of our smallmouth fishing, are all post-spawn, summer pattern, doesn't change a lot. You know, here you got pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn, summer pattern, fall pattern. It's like, holy mackerel. So there's a lot to learn, but I take some of that, and I found it's helped me as a fisherman back home. So
that's the thing, just constantly learning and constantly, you know, never going out and thinking you got it dialed in right away. You know, you never put anything, you know, fish can do whatever they want. You think you got them figured out, and that's the day. Next day, you totally don't.
Right on. Well, anyways, you know, thanks so much, dude, and you know, we'll definitely, you know, hook up again, and we'll talk some more, and good luck, you know, the next couple of days, and we hope to see you right at the top.
For sure. Thanks, Vera.
Thanks, buddy.